Hi guys, we're back here doing Reading Street today, our second day of doing this. Our main selection today is called The Eye of the Storm. We're going to be working on this selection for a few days. It's Eye of the Storm, Chasing Storms with Warren Fadley. This is Unit 3, Lesson 4. So before we start, we always talk about what the question of the week is. So hopefully you remember from yesterday, our question of the week is, how do weather patterns affect our lives? So when we're reading the story today, we're definitely going to hear about how weather patterns affect our lives, everybody's lives, really. This is a expository text, that's our genre. It gives information about real people and real events. So we're going to be learning about Warren Fadley, that's the person, and he's going to be talking about we're going to be hearing about the events that he has experienced. We're going to be prepared for some really nice surprises as we read about him. He experiences a storm called Hurricane Andrew, and he gives us some amazing photographs, and he also gives us some information about it, so it's pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and start reading, but before we start reading, you know we always talk about our vocabulary words that we're going to be running into as we're going along. So the first ones are the amazing words, and this chapter's amazing words are a little easier than usual because I think we all have a lot of background knowledge about hurricanes and tornadoes and thunderstorms, so I'll make this a little bit easier. Our amazing words, the first one is blizzard, then we have ditch, estimate, hurricane, meteorologist. Okay, you guys know what a meteorologist is. It's a scientist that studies the weather. And number 6 is powerful. Number 7 is severe. Number 8 is shelter. I think we've had that word in the past too. It's talking about how you stay safe, like our house can be our shelter. Number 9 is a tornado, and number 10 is unpredictable. Notice that prefix, un, which is so unpredictable, not predictable. Okay, so let's think about that as we're reading. We also have our tested vocabulary words. So there's 6 of them. We have, the first one is destruction. You can see that. Number 2 is expected. Number 3 is forecasts. Number 4 is inland. Number 5 is shatter. And number 6 is surge. Okay. So, if I was in school right now with you, we would be doing a background knowledge question. So I'm just going to say out loud so you can hear what it would be. So our background knowledge question is, describe what you know about hurricanes. And I bet a lot of hands would go up right now because I know you guys know a lot about hurricanes. So I guess I'll just have to tell you that they are large storms. They have really high winds, and they have lots and lots of rain, very heavy rain, like inches of rain when they come through. The strongest winds are always around the eye of the storm, and they could have wind speeds up to 200 miles per hour, which I feel like we can't really imagine that, but it's really, really fast and dangerous. So those are some facts that we know, that most of you know about hurricanes. So that's a little bit of our background knowledge about hurricanes, and now I'm just going to preview some of our questions. Before we read, it's always good to kind of know what kind of questions I'm going to ask for your exit ticket today. So kind of zoom in on that while I'm reading. Number 3, the first one that I'm going to ask you is, who is Warren Fadley and what does he chase? So hopefully you can figure out what he chases and who he is. Another one is, where does he live? So where does he live on a permanent residency? And then we have a couple of true and false questions that you guys should be able to answer. All right, so let me start reading. I want you guys to really listen and think about those questions and how you're going to answer them when I give you your exit ticket on Google. All right, so Warren Fadley, he is a storm chaser beginning in April, which it's April right now, and continuing through November. He could be found on the trail of tornadoes, thunderstorms, and hurricanes. He is usually taking pictures of them, and he thinks, of course, that they're spectacular and they're beautiful, and they're powerful on top of that. When he's not out chasing storms, he's home, and get this, he lives in Tucson, Arizona. Okay, and that's where he sells his photographs through his business that he has out in Tucson, Arizona. So let's remember where he lives. The next part we're going to talk about is the storm seasons and how and when he chases the storms. So storms are caused by certain kinds of weather patterns. The same patterns are found in the same areas year after year. So think about that. When it's August, we know that it's hot, it's humid, it might be rainy here in New Jersey, but we will never have a foot of snow on the ground because that's our weather patterns. We know it's always going to be warm and it's not going to be snowing. Okay? So, for example, every spring, large areas of cool, dry air and warm, moist air collide over the central United States. So in the middle of the United States, they're talking about. If the winds are right, tornado-producing thunderstorms will appear. So that's why you hear in the middle of the United States, and they just recently had a lot of tornadoes. We hear about them having some major ones in the springtime. So that's why tornadoes happen in the south, and they're most likely to happen in the spring. During July and August, shifting winds push moisture from the south up into the Arizona desert. When the cool, moist air is heated by the hot desert, storm clouds form. That's why Tucson has summer thunderstorms. In the late summer and early fall, when oceans in the northern Atlantic are the warmest, so think about it, when is it the warmest to go swimming in New Jersey, in the Atlantic Ocean? August, right? Sometimes July starts getting a little warmer, but we know August and September are pretty much the warmer months for the ocean temperature. So that's the warmest. Tropical storms form off of the west coast of Africa. A few of these turn into hurricanes that sometimes batter the east and Gulf coasts of North America. So let's take a look at this timeline that they have. Okay. It's almost like a calendar timeline. So they show you that tornadoes, look down here, happen in April, May, and a little bit of June. And then thunderstorms happen in June, July, and August. But then starting in August, hurricanes form. And that's when they happen. August, September, October, November. And then you could also see those pictures there. Hopefully you can see them. The first one's a tornado. The second one's a thunderstorm, and that last one there is definitely showing us a hurricane. You can see the high winds, and you can see the large amount of rain and flooding that they're having there. So, moving on. Because Warren is a storm chaser, his life follows these weather patterns. Each spring, Warren goes on the road, traveling through parts of the United States, likely to be hit by tornadoes. During the summer, he stays near Tucson so he can photograph the thunderstorms that develop over the desert, which probably makes really pretty photographs. In late summer and fall, he keeps an eye on the weather activity in the Atlantic Ocean, ready to fly to the east coast if a hurricane appears. So how do you think he does this? Let's take a look. So by the first or second week of September, Tucson's summer thunderstorms are ending. There won't be much lightning until the next summer, but that works out well for Warren because August through November are months when hurricanes sometimes strike the east and Gulf coasts of the United States. So how do you think he's tracking them? Let's take a look at this picture here. So do you see him at his desk? How do you think he's tracking them? If you're saying that he's looking on the internet and he's tracking them through computers and different weather patterns, then you're on the right track. That's exactly how he has to track them. So although Tucson is far from the areas where hurricanes hit, Warren begins his hurricane chases from home. He uses his computer, to get information on tropical storms or hurricanes moving toward North America. So that's how he has to track them. He has to use his computer. He works like a scientist, analyzing the information, and then he has to go to where it is. So in the next part, we'll learn about kind of where he's gone and what he's experienced. But for now, this is just an introduction to our new story of the week, which is again called The Eye of the Storm. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed learning your first part about Warren and his travels and what he does. If you need to, replay this and you can listen to me read it again. Please fill out the exit ticket when you're all finished and submit it to me so I can give you a grade. All right, I miss you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.